everyone, and welcome to today's Makerspace. My name is Holly and I work for the Region of Waterloo Library. Thanks for joining us today. We are going to be creating some bouncy balls with some few simple ingredients that you likely have at home, and if not, they are fairly easy and simple to find in the grocery store. So we have some borax today, which I don't have in the box it comes in, but it can be found close to their laundry detergent or dishwashing soap in the grocery store aisle. So mine's just in a mason jar today. We've got cornstarch and some white glue, as well as our food coloring. So our primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. I also have some hot water ready to go and some mixing bowls. So I've got a small bowl and a large bowl. And of course some things to measure. So in my bowl already I have a tablespoon of borax. So just that size, a tablespoon. And I'm going to take my hot water and start mixing that. That is your key right here, is that the borax has to be fully dissolved. So even though most recipes for this say to use warm water, I use hot water because you don't want the borax leaving little bits of grit in your bouncy ball. So you want to make sure that the hot water and the borax is well stirred. Alright, just about ready to go there. It doesn't take very long, but that is sort of your key to making a good bouncy ball. So I will show you a few of the finished products in between stirring. So I've got this blue one here. Now they do flatten out a bit over time. So it makes it sort of a fidget toy or a stress toy as well, so that you can reshape it back into a ball. So there's a blue one there that I've shaped into a ball. And I'm going to bounce it here. There we are. And I'll bounce it again in front of the, hopefully in front of the camera. Move this ahead just a wee bit. Alright, so they do bounce in the end. Okay, so I made a few. I made a purple one already, a yellow one, like they really do flatten out, and then you just take the time to reshape them. Okay, so I'm going to put these aside for now, my samples. And just double check that this borax is fully stirred and mixed. And dissolved, sorry, is the key. Alright, I'm just going to set that aside for a minute. And in my smaller bowl, I'm going to measure out 1/4 teaspoon of cornstarch. So I'm going to put that in my bowl. And then with my white glue, I'm going to measure out a large tablespoon, heaping tablespoon of glue. Oops. I have another spoon here. There we go. So the first thing that needs to be stirred well is your borax mixture. The second thing that needs to be stirred well is your glue and cornstarch. So the cornstarch acts just the same way it would in gravy, so sort of as like a thickening agent in there. So we're going to stir that together. Make sure there's no clumps or bits. So today's makerspace involves some science. So you're mixing the glue and the cornstarch to thicken it up. And I'm going to make a red or orange bouncy ball. So I'm going to put just a splash of red. This came out a little bit faster than I thought, that's okay. And a bit of yellow. I've tried making these with clear glue before. It didn't quite work out for me, but you're welcome to try that at home if you'd like. So I'll show you I'm just simply mixing in my food color with my glue and my cornstarch. I tried making it with clear glue and add some glitter just to see if I could make something a bit different. It didn't turn out very well. It lasted a little bit, and then as I gave it one big good bounce on my floor, it totally fell apart. So you're welcome to try it with clear glue. Maybe you can figure out a different combination of cornstarch and clear glue that would work better. Okay, so that is well mixed. I'm going to bring my borax back up here. And then I'm going to pour my glue right into the borax. I'm going to try to get it in there quickly because I want you to see how it hardens up. So this one might not be very big, and that's okay. So I used a clear bowl on purpose so you could kind of see how it's thickening and hardening up in the borax. So I'm going to count to 30, sort of in my head here as we... So you want your glue and cornstarch mixture to be in the borax solution for about 30 seconds. So that's about 15 seconds so far. Okay, so you can see how it's sort of this glob right now. And that's what you want. Okay, you're welcome to use gloves too if it makes you feel better with what you're working with, or if you just don't like the texture of that on your hands. I know some people prefer not to have that kind of sticky. So it's not necessarily sticky, it's just wet mostly. So I'm going to roll this around in my hand to form a ball. And do you hear it sort of snapping there? That's okay. It's okay if it does that. So all you're doing there is getting the air pockets out. And you see how it's forming a ball, and that's exactly what you're hoping for or wanting. So sometimes I have a napkin handy just to take off some of the wet stickiness off my hand. Although this one turned out pretty good. It wasn't as wet or sticky as they sometimes are. So it kind of depends. If you decide to make yours with a little bit more glue to make it bigger, then you're going to add a little more cornstarch. So it's a 1/4 tablespoon of cornstarch, we'll call it a full heaping tablespoon of glue. All right, so there we are. We've got a pretty nice ball there. It's sort of a unique color. It's orange, a nice orange. And I'm just going to move. So you'll see your water does get a little dirty. You can keep using that though. The colors generally don't blend. Let's say you decide to do a blue one, it should be fine to put that right in there. But what I like about this recipe is that it is sort of a one-time or sort of a single bouncy ball. So if it's just you doing it or a sibling, brother or sister with you, you would just each take turns making one, which I think is kind of cool. And then you could use that borax mixture probably quite a few times. When I did my samples, I made about 6 or 7 with that same solution. Okay, so I'm just going to move this ahead a little bit and see if we can get this to bounce. So I've got a pretty good ball now. All right, can you see it there? So they don't bounce crazy high, but just high enough. Oops, and that one rolled away on me. Okay. So today's makerspace is a mixture of science. We've got our borax solution to harden things up in the end. Cornstarch and glue just simply acts as a thickening agent with the glue. And there we are, a bouncy ball. And as I mentioned, they do flatten out over time, but they do keep for a long time as well. And there we go. There's my one from earlier today, my blue one. Maybe not a perfect ball yet, but if I keep going like this, it forms back into a ball. All right, well, thank you for joining me today on Makerspace to learn how to make your own homemade bouncy balls, which could also be used as a stress toy as well. For more great online resources, visit www.rwlibrary.ca and continue to follow us on various social media feeds. Bye for now.